Hello everybody and welcome. If you are new here, hit the subscribe, hit the notify, and hit the like on this video. Let us know what you see. Today we're going to answer one big question for you guys. Which grading company is better? PSA, CGC, and is GMA even comparable? We'll be right back. Alright guys, like I said, we're just going to get right down into this and take a look at these slabs here. I have got 3 slabs. I could not get Beckett. I wish I could have found one, but couldn't get one of those. Otherwise, I got CGC, PSA, and I found a GMA. So we're going to go ahead and look at each one of these. They are the exact same card. They're all the Charizard V Promo from Champion's Path. They were all graded. CGC and the PSA came back as a 9. And the GMA came as a 10. So we're going to go ahead and do a breakdown and check these out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 of the big 3s right away with PSA and CGC. See if we agree with the 9 grade on these cards. See if we see, if what we're seeing is congruent with what you've got. So we're going to go down here real quick and we're going to check this out. First one I've got is the CGC Universal Grade. This one is a 9. The Charizard V Promo from Champion's Path, SWSH 050, and this is what we've got. And the nice thing is, the reason I'm doing a CGC first is it's got the subgrades. The subgrades really point out where your issues were on this card, so that you can really focus in and see what you find. The number 1 part of the grading system is centering, and centering got an 8.5 on this. So we looked this over. The quickest way to look at centering, of course, is to go right to the back. And if you can see, it is thin down here and it is thick up here. So the centering is shifted up and down. Centering left to right is a tiny bit off. It's a little bit shifted, a little thin here, a little thicker here, but not by much. The real problem is up and down on this card. So I would agree with the 8.5 on the centering on this. Surface, I was kind of looking over this and I could not find, looking on it, I mean through here, every time I thought I might have saw a scratch or a scuff, and ended up just being on the case. So not really seeing anything on the surface, but once again, their graders are looking at it with AI. They're looking at different lighting, so they might be seeing something, a scratch, a smudge, whatever might be inside of there that we just don't see with the naked eye. And the only other thing I could see was the edges got a 9.5, and the only thing I could see is there's a spot. I'm trying to get it in focus right where my finger is, right by the fire symbol. It has almost like a glint. You can see just a little bit of a roll or a little bit of a mark on the edge there. And it's right there next to the corner, but the corner's got a 10. So it's just below it. And that is the only thing on here that I could see on that to get the 9.5. Otherwise, all the edges look very clean. I put a black light on these in my truck and there were no whitening whatsoever on the corners, so this one was really clean except for that little bit of a glint on the hollow foil on the full art card on the front. Next one I'm going to pull up here is the PSA 9. So once again, it's the same thing, Charizard V Promo, the SWSH 050 from Champion's Path. This one here has got a 9, and once again, centering about the same. So if I hold it up, thick here, thin here, left and right look really good. So once again, it's slightly shifted down on the card. Checking out the edges and everything like that and the surface, I didn't see much on this side. I didn't see any whitening. I didn't see any scratches on this side. Surface on here, I really didn't see anything wrong with it. But once again, it's really hard to see those little minute details inside of there that possibly they're picking up with their lighting and how they're examining them. One thing I did notice is right here, there is almost the same spot right by this fire symbol. There is a little bit of like a chipping or like a roll. The foil is just slightly pulled up a little bit. Once again, very noticeable on the card itself just by holding it. So that was the one thing that I saw that maybe getting that 9 is the centering is slightly off, and then that mark might have perfect surface and it might have perfect corners. But just that mark right there might be the one that's setting it down and putting it firmly in that 9 position. Of course, PSA doesn't do 9.5, 8.5, it just 10, 9, 8. So said, that's why this one I believe got the 9 on this one. So once again, a very agreeable grade on the PSA. So the one thing I am going to show too on the PSA and the CGC, and I'm going to hold the PSA because it really does it here next to the microphone, but you can hear it physically moves a ton inside of this holder. And then the one thing is it's got the flats on it versus it doesn't really contain the corners. There's 4 flats on each side. And I have seen that when these travel, if you store them like this or you travel with them up like this, they will bounce and it'll actually cause damage on the top or the bottom. I mean, I suppose it'd be the same on the sides, but I've seen people that have moved, gotten damage on these bottom top corners from them bouncing when they're traveling. So if you're going to carry one of these sleeves, make sure that if you are moving or you're going on a long distance trip with these cards, that you put them on the downward position so that the cards don't bounce on those flats. CGC, pull theirs up here real quick. And theirs does not move very much. The pocket itself is a lot tighter, and there is no corner cutouts or reliefs in here. So it's a solid base around it. So there's no real flats to really dig into the card. I don't know if that would really make a difference. If it was hitting a lot, you'd still get edge damage, I feel, that if you bounced it. Once again, a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller pocket for movement. And so I don't know if it'd be any better or not. Definitely, once again, any card time you got a slab, lay it flat when you travel or are moving a lot with it. Last one we got here now is the GMA. So I got this pulled up here real quick, and it got a GMA Gem Mint 10. And of course, once again, Charizard V SWSH 050 from Champion's Path, exact same card. If we flip this over to get a Gem Mint 10, you know, that means everything's got to be just on point. I can tell you right now, and I'm sure you probably already see it in the camera down here, it is not on point. Biggest thing that I'm seeing right off the bat, thick here, really thin here, really thick here. This whole card is slid up this way on the centering. It's actually the worst out of all 3 cards on the centering part of it. The other part is that I saw this on my black light. There is visible whitening right here on this edge, and then there was another spot down here in the bottom where there is visible like glinting on it where it's rolled. So there are 2 edges with issues. The centering is a lot further off, and here we are sitting with a Gem 10. Now, for anybody with the argument that GMA is comparable to the other 2, I would say no. This isn't the first card I've seen with a Gem Mint 10 from GMA that has had these kind of issues on it and still holding with that grade. So part of me sits there and thinks that GMA, because they are a newer company to the Pokemon grading and to the TCG grading, is that they might be putting a few more 10s out there to get people to use them more. But the issue is with that is that we got to go back a year and a half, all the way back to the PSA when they were grading stuff back then. They were having the same kind of issues where they were grading stuff that should have been an 8. It was getting through as a 10. CGC, I will say, I do really like them because they are consistent from the time they started doing TCG cards to now. You could pull their cards and look at them. They're pretty much consistent. I think you could probably take a card that was done for them originally, take it now, and it would probably come back to the same grade. They are very consistent. They are very thorough about how they grade things, which in my opinion is going to make their cards graded a lot more valuable in the future. Currently right now, if you go to a CGC to a PSA, it's about a 15 to 20% difference in cost. This runs about 15 to 20% less than this. And I think that gap's going to close. So guys, as an investment tip, a very good point to get into is CGC 9s and 10s, especially 10s, because they're so difficult to get from CGC to begin with. Getting those cards now when they're a little bit underrated will be good in the future as they start catching up to PSA and Beckett as a few more years go by, and if they stay consistent as they have been, you're going to see that happen, guys. The other thing is too is that we've got, GMA, them being just really starting into the Pokemon and TCG market. we might see them become more consistent and better as they go, as they get more technology, as they get better graders. I've also heard on a couple different sites that GMA now has hired 2 former PSA graders to start working in their company. If that's the case, they may become more consistent and they may be going to the PSA standards. If that happens, these may become more valuable, but then again, you run into the same problem where their past cards may come back to haunt them with them being 10s when they're really 8s and 9s. To be honest with you, I would think that this, if you were going to go CGC, it would be an 8.5. Probably, maybe an 8 in PSA. I don't even think it'd make a 9. Just because of the double edge damage, the way off center, both directions by that noticeable amount. I feel that this card is way overgraded, and that's going to be a consistent issue. So, like I said, guys, definitely if you're going for long-term profit or long-term investment opportunities on your cards, PSA and CGC are going to be a very good option and where you should be. Looking for maybe some quick turnaround investments where you're just trying to get cards in, buy a group, send them out, get them back, and sell the slabs. GMA is a perfectly good alternative for that. I think no matter what, you're going to hurt yourself on about a 30% drop in value going to GMA versus PSA, or even a 15% drop from CGC to GMA. So once again, if you're going to be doing that, I would definitely hold on to these cards for investment purposes, and these would be quick turns. But like I said, it's just up to you and what you're trying to do for you. Lead times on CGC right now is about 45 days. PSA right now is 6 months. I mean, they're running close to 180 days right now to 200 days on grading. And GMA is actually sitting at about a 20-day turnaround on their cards. So once again, if you're trying to turn and get them done, good alternative. Long-term investment, CGC, PSA, Beckett, definitely stay with them. But otherwise, like I said, I would definitely, there's your comparison between them. I would definitely look at all of them, but go with the better ones for what works best for you and what you're trying to do. But otherwise, we will see you next time here. If you are new, hit the subscribe, hit the notify, hit the like. Also, check out our other shorts section. I will put that in the description below, where we just do short videos on that one. Otherwise, we will see you next time here at Northwoods Collectors.